Okay, Sistas fans, this is my review from last night's episode, Keep It 100. Karen decides to focus her fury on Zach. Danny meets a new love interest while Andy looks to have a stalker. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like this synopsis, as well as next week's synopsis, are, I guess you could say, misleading. Not to mention, oh yeah. Remember when I did my videos yesterday about the TV line promotional photos? Didn't I tell you they lied? Or the one where Fatima's there is a lie? Okay, technically she did show up, but that was the end of the episode. The photo was her coming into the apartment and her and Miss Lisa looking at Karen. That technically didn't happen last night, so that photo was a lie. So it makes me even more, confident in what I said before of, I don't think they should have released that photo. I know it was a rating stunt, but they could have just left it up for the viewers to decide whether or not Fatima would show up. And the thing is, in the episode, Madam and Angela both encourage her to go, but we never have a scene where she agrees to go. After Madam and, the other ladies leave Deja's apartment, we don't see a follow-up where, okay, we got one problem taken care of. Now you need to go over there and take care of another one. That would have been great, but we didn't get that. So even though, I want to be honest, I rewatched the episode, or at least particular scenes over the past, couple hours here. But originally I gave the episode an 8 out of 10. Upon rewatch, I want to give it a lower score, but I'll stick with an 8 out of 10. Might as well. This episode didn't do anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. If this episode was nothing more, then Madam, Angela, Fatima, and maybe even Andy. I mean, she didn't have to stay the entire scene, but, even if she was there, I would have been more invested in them just talking, sipping on wine, than any of the scenes involving Danny and that guy, Jonah. And then and thankfully, as brief as it was, the scene between Calvin and Q. I didn't give a flying rat's ass about the letters because they did exactly what I thought they would do. Absolutely nothing aside from blame Zach for everything. It just felt like all Karen's letters were, Zach is the reason that there are poor people in the world. Zach is the reason that people die of cancer. Zach is the reason the inflation is happening and the economy is trash. Zach. This, I don't even feel like I should do a review. I just feel like I should sit up here and talk shit for like 20 minutes. But there really isn't much to say. You know what? Let me talk about the Danny stuff first. She's at the bar or restaurant or whatever meeting with Jonah. And, she pretty much, and look, I'm not trying to call her a whore or anything. But, it's like, I feel like maybe because Jonah is upfront with his intentions, Danny's like, what kind of girl do you think I am? And I'm like, this really feels like a Andy situation where Andy is, a slut. And then when someone, says, so why don't we take this to the bedroom? What kind of girl do you think I am? Like, Andy, you were just giving it up to Gary on the couch last night. I mean, so you know what this is. So, yeah, and then he's like, I'm used to buying drinks for someone, and then we go home, and no, that's not going to happen. And then Danny's like, I'll decide. So then they eventually get to her apartment. Yeah, he's revealed he's 38. Okay, Jonah's 38. He's single. Okay. Look, okay. If you're going to be a person that's like, Jeremy, what the hell, man? You can click off the video. There isn't much to say. There isn't. I'm not even going to do a play-by-play. I'm just going to talk about the quick stuff first, the Danny and Calvin stuff. Then I'll move on to like maybe the Robin thing. And then the rest of the episode is simply dedicated to the letters and Madam chatting it up with the women. That's pretty much it. So strap yourselves in. Yeah, so they get back to the apartment. And honestly, I was expecting Preston to knock on the door. I'm going to be honest here. I was expecting Preston to knock on that door. So essentially from there, again, Jonah asked for a drink. Danny's like, I'm not, and that's the thing that got me about Danny. It's the fact now you want to act all innocent, like you haven't been sleeping with, Joe Smo over the past few seasons. But now it's like, you know what? I'm just not sure what I want. I wanted a hot girl summer. basically, it kind of feels like you can tell she's reflecting on losing Preston. That's kind of what it felt like to me. Let me know if you read the situation differently. But from there, you got, Jonah trying to, like, look, come on, let's do it. I'll show you what I got. You show me what you got. And, apparently they start getting frisky, and Danny is impressed because he's small, but he's like, look, just give me some time. I'll get it right. And then, I don't know. So from there, Calvin gets home, sees Q broke in. I'm a thug. I'm a gangster. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you're a punk. We saw a real gangster for the first half of the episode over at Fatima's house. Trust me, you don't want any of that. So Calvin's like, I can't believe you. And one of the reasons why this episode is weird, Calvin's like, don't make me whoop your ass again. Calvin, what fight were you at? Somebody made me laugh so hard during the live stream last night. They were like, Q hit Calvin so hard, he forgot he lost the fight. Like, I don't know what the writing is, Tyler Perry, but come on, man. Can you do a little better with this? Like, the continuity. This was like 2 episodes ago where, hell, let's go back to that episode itself. After that fight, Calvin was like, if I find out you had anything to do with Maurice and Sabrina getting locked up, I'm going to whoop your ass. But you just got your ass beat. What the hell are you talking about? I did laugh when Q mentioned the twirl thing, but that just shows you what kind of quote-unquote friend and roommate Maurice is if he's just talking shit behind your back all the time. But then again, Calvin, just pack your shit and leave. You got $20,000 and just go. Just find your own apartment. I know it's fucked up, everything that happened, but you know what? You allowed this to happen, you and Maurice, so just go. I really don't care anymore about this story. All right. Aside from that, we have Paris cleaning up the office. It's late at night. Robin's still there. He asked if, he knows Andy. Oh, thank you to those who pointed out that this is the same actor that played Paris in seasons 1 and 2. I honestly didn't know because it's been such a long time since we've seen him. And I'm kind of used to Tyler Perry. Like, if a character gets recast, if they haven't been in the show for quite a while, and their character needs to return for like a smaller role just to kind of follow up on the storyline. So I will say this, I will give Tyler Perry credit for bringing up season 1 stuff and bringing back characters like a Miss Lisa and Paris. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, Robin simply asked Paris if he and Andy got together, and it's like, look, she's a beautiful woman. And Robin's like, yeah, you'd like to take her out, huh? But come on, man, she's out of my league. I'm just a janitor. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll be out of here soon. Yeah, we'll try to keep things quiet for you. All right. So then after that, we have Paris calling Andy, and I was a bit scared for a second. I was like, yo, based on the synopsis about the whole stalker thing, I literally assumed Robin was going to walk right up behind Paris like, okay, so you lied to me, huh? But that didn't happen. Essentially, he just called Andy to let her know that Robin was asking about them. And it's like, look, I said, we weren't messing around or anything. But essentially from there, he's kind of like, wow, okay, so no small talk. I've had a long day. And that's pretty much how Andy is. Like, once she's done with you, she's done with you because, I don't have it. Look, I just messed around with you. Kind of like in the same way Karen is with Andy. Karen is with Aaron, but of course it lasted a lot longer. But essentially, that leads to Robin calling, and people have noticed that, he looked a bit disheveled when he called Andy. It almost felt like, he was Willie Earl again, like he had, gotten high or something. And the thing about it is people are proud. Like, look, Andy, look at how Andy shut Robin down. You know what? She was like, yes, sir. Yes, this isn't about business. I'm not coming to meet you. I will see you at work tomorrow, though. Bye. And that was pretty impressive to a lot of viewers. But truth be told, how many times has she done this with Gary? Like, Gary, I'm not talking to you. You upset me and I'm busy right now, so leave me alone. And then she'll go around telling all the sisters, you know what? Yeah, I haven't talked to Gary. And it's like, she got her head held high. But then when she has that moment of weakness, somebody was like, yo, Andy just can't stand being alone. She'll have a moment of weakness and then she'll end up calling Gary or answering him call and answer his call and tell the girls, well, Gary invited me over for dinner and we're going to talk and I'm just going to see if he's changed. It's the same shit here. Also, I hate what's happening here. Now, even I admit it. I do feel in some ways Robin was harsh with Andy, but that really only came from when he was like, hey, come here. Your last file sucked. And whenever you want to just stroll into my office, you need to talk to my secretary first. That was the part I'm like, okay, that was harsh and petty. Everything before that, even though some of the questions were late and Robin addressed it, like, it's a little too late to ask about this, but do you have any STDs and whatnot? I thought you had a, higher quality of man that you pursue instead of just sleeping with anybody. So now Robin thinks he was wrong because Paris lied about him and Andy being together. Then he calls Andy to apologize, and I'm not mad at her for keeping things strictly business between them, but it just feels like it almost felt like Tyler wrote it where Andy gets a free pass for being a slut. That's exactly what somebody tweeted to me yesterday when I said, wait, so Robin is apologizing for being wrong when he's actually right, and now Andy's giving him the cold shoulder because he gave her one. And again, she never learns. And it just leads to the anger I have about the whole letter situation, because Andy not really taking responsibility or I guess you could say fessing up to her hoe tendencies is just as bad as Karen putting full blame for her failed relationship on Zach. But on top of that, apparently he's ruined her life. He's messed me up so bad I can't show love or give love to anyone else. Bullshit! Okay. Alright. Let me look over the notes real quick, because I think I've talked about just about everything other than the madam stuff and the letter stuff. Oh yeah. Andy calls Danny, lets her know Fatima's cousin was able to make it where she can go see Andy the next day. Danny wants to go too, but unfortunately it's only legal counsel, but Danny makes it clear she wants to go over. And yet again, the hypocritical nature of these sisters. Danny bursts into Andy's penthouse, gets on her case about, messing around with Gary when Sabrina's in the midst of a crisis. Sabrina's still in the midst of a crisis. Andy's the one making deals with the Madam Mafia in order to get her help. And yet we have Danny messing around with a man who's probably as big as a Vienna sausage. Yet that's okay. And now she's demanding to go see Sabrina, even though Andy made it clear that she couldn't. Okay, yeah, everything is fair. Alright, so let's get to the shit y'all want me to talk about. Alright, let's get to it. Man, I'm sorry. Look, I know I'm usually more professional and whatnot, but this episode, it's one of those episodes where I was so hyped, but then when I finally watched it, I'm like, okay. But then when I rewatched it, I'm like, oh, damn, this is worse than I thought. All right. Madam, Angela, Fatima, Andy sit. Well, they're actually standing around, pouring wine to start things off. Let me just say this much. Like I said at the beginning of this video and on Twitter, this episode could have just been these four ladies sitting and talking, and I would have gave it like a 12 out of 10. This was just good. I will never get over the fact that we saw 3 different Tyler Perry shows represented in one scene. Andy for Sistas, Angela for Zatima, Madam for All the Queen's Men, and Fatima for both Sistas and Zatima. Also, if you want to stretch it even further, technically 4 shows because Andy guest starred in a few episodes of Bruh. So there's that. But that's a bit of a stretch. So there we go. But yeah, it was just cool because how long have we been wanting Tyler Perry shows to cross over? So I just appreciated that. So for that alone, I appreciate the episode. So, Andy slowly learns over the course of the conversation that Fatima isn't who she thought she was, but at the same time is shocked when she finds out Madam is a gangster. And I gotta say a couple things that did kind of bother me. As the episode went on, especially after Andy left, Angela was pretty adamant about, hey, let's shift gears. Let's talk about your man. What about Zach? Let's talk about Zach. And a lot of us online like, yo, Angela, what about Bryce? What about your DL boyfriend? What about that? It's like you just throwing Fatima under the bus. But I guess it comes in terms of continuity. Isn't technically she's supposed to be dating Jake right now? But then again, I don't think Jake is going to appear in season 5 at all. So I honestly don't know what the character is up to. Like I said, after watching Zatima season 1, I guess Bryce is the new Jake, so there's that. But yeah, Angela was pretty quick, like, yo, let's talk about Zach. Come on, Fatima, let's spill the tea. And it's like, yo, I know you ain't talking for Angela. Man, come on now. But she looked good. She looked good. Then Madam, some people were like, oh, I hated how they presented Madam in this show. And I said, and I'll say what I said during the live stream. MCU fans will get this. When Black Panther first came out, and as a black man, yes, strong for the culture, iconic film, still doesn't make my top 10 MCU films. But in terms of what it did for the culture, absolutely fantastic. In terms of an MCU movie, meh. Personally, I felt that I preferred the way T'Challa was portrayed in Civil War. Complete badass. Anytime he saw Bucky was on site, he wanted revenge for his father's murder. Awesome. Black Panther, T'Challa wasn't that same badass because Killmonger came in and he was the more domineering force. But it makes sense. In the Black Panther film, we really saw T'Challa interact with his family and his home and whatnot. So he's not going to be at a 12 the entire time in terms of, being pissed off and ready to kill people. Madam is the same way. She is not going to have the same demeanor chilling with her cousin that she does on All the Queen's Men. Oh yeah, she still don't play, but she's going to be toned down. And it's kind of funny because just like the T'Challa reference I made, notice how earlier this season Fatima was straight up Civil War T'Challa, ready to kick ass in your face. But now she seemed tame by comparison, because Madam was there. Which also makes me even more frustrated with how Fatima is written for the last few episodes, acting towards Zach, So, long story short, the ladies chat, learn a bit more about each other. Andy learns that, Fatima took a different path than her cousin. I mean, Madam straight up said, look, I wanted you to, come run the club and everything, but you decided to go all, high sedity, go into law. And Andy should have just shut her mouth going, oh, no, Andy, no, just sit your ass there and listen. Because as soon as Madam said, oh, are you trying to judge me? I would have been like, Lord, I would have been groveling at her feet, trying not to mess up her shoes. Like, Lord, Madam, I did not mean it. I've never been so intimidated and attracted to a woman at the same time when I was watching Madam in this particular scene, because Andy, but as soon as she said I'm an attorney, oh, okay, we're going to be good then. But as soon as she says divorce, I can't do nothing with you. I do know some criminal attorneys who are good. I'll hold you to that. So I think it's safe to say we know what kind of favors Madam is going to request from Andy maybe later on. I'll be very interested if there's a nod to that as All the Queen's Men moves further into season 2. I don't know. But essentially, she reveals the situation about Sabrina, and she goes to make a phone call. Great season 1 reference, because the judge, I forget her name, the one who likes, I forgot the exact dancer, at the club, she has video footage and whatnot of the judge and the stripper. So basically, she will use that as blackmail. So she knew everything about Sabrina Hollins. Basically, I don't enter a room without knowing everything that's going on first. So I'm like, damn, that's what I'm talking about. So she makes a phone call. Got the judge to set up an arrangement where, Andy can go see her friend and, see if she could help her out. So that was pretty cool. And I mean, even Madam was like, wait, that's all you want? Yes. So maybe the price won't be that high, but when you deal with people like Madam, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But she does say, Andy, your boss, she's pretty cool. I like what I see of her so far. So, thankfully, Andy's on good terms right now. So, eventually she goes, talks to Nanny on the phone, shuts down Robin or whatever. And then she's like, hey, thanks. Great to meet you all. I got to go. And she leaves. Also, I did like the fact that, Madam and Angela kind of had a little back and forth at the beginning of the episode. Look at you looking all good. And I'm thinking like, Madam, you know exactly who this is from All the Queen's Men. It's just a different character she's playing. So I thought that was pretty funny. So as we go forward in the episode, the ladies are talking, and Zach, I love how Madam wants to meet Zach. So the music starts blasting. They go across. I know some people are like, why the hell did Angela and Fatima walk all the way down the sidewalk, up the sidewalk, and then down the other side of the sidewalk to go to Deja's door when they could have just walked across just like Madam did. Stretching out the episode. So they knock on the door, Deja blasts the music, and she's just running. This is why I can't even defend my baby, because she was just running her damn mouth, and it got to the point where Madam taps her on the shoulder, hold up, and then she taps on the shoulder, hold up, Madam. And the reason that Deja knows who Madam is because she's a dancer, and she knows Madam's reputation is she don't play, and she pretty much says, that's my cousin, that's my blood, don't make me have to come by here again. Oh, also, I'm not the one who's going to come by. I'm going to send somebody to shut this shit down. I don't care how big your speakers are. That's going to be a coffin. You feel me? So then from there, Deja is reduced to groveling. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was going to put her hands up like Mr. Brown. Oh, I'm sorry. Tima, don't call me that. Fatima, I won't come after your man or anything. And I'll turn the music down. Y'all, all right, you have a good night. You have an even better one. So that's the end of Deja's antics, I suppose. So there's that. All right. So from there, let's talk about the letters. But before that, last thing to talk about Madam. Madam was with Angela like, you know what, you need to go over there and shut that shit down, because, you know, it just felt like Madam knows the Fatima of old, you know, pre going into law and whatnot. It's the fact that Madam just can't believe Fatima's allowing so much stuff to fly, such as Deja and especially Karen. That's the vibe I was getting from how Madam was reacting to everything that was going on. And based on, you know, Madam's reaction to certain things, it seems like Fatima's been filling her in about everything from Zach to Karen and whatnot. So Madam is ready to shut that down. Like, yo, we need to go over there right now and see what's going on. No. And I'm like, Fatima, come on now. Let's do this, because we do get a phone call from Zach, and I love how, you know, when Zach calls and she answers the phone, I want to meet you, Zach. She's, you know, he basically tells her it'll be like 20 more minutes because she needed to take an emotional break and whatnot. And then, you know, Fatima pops up at the end. So another thing that disappointed about the episode, after they got back from Deja's, there really should have been a scene where Madam was like, well, we shut down one of your problems. Let's go over there to shut down another one, and I can meet your boyfriend, Zach. No, fine. I'll go myself. So that's why Fatima decides to go. We didn't get that, unfortunately. So the last thing to talk about is the damn letters. Guys, I might do a separate video where I break it down. Like, I'll just play the audio for Aaron's letter. But does there really... Like I said, I don't want to seem like I'm half-assing it, but there really isn't much to say about these letters. This played out exactly like I said it would in the numerous videos I've done over the past couple of weeks. Even though Karen wrote a letter, 2 pages, to Aaron, it just felt like it was an entire letter that was bashing Zach. Basically, hey, at first, I didn't want to use you, but I have to admit to myself that I did kind of use you. My last relationship messed me up so bad. The one thing that you were different from Zach, you're consistent, you didn't cheat, you offered to pay for things, you didn't rely on me, yada, 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 yada. And Zach wanted to get up several times, but Miss Lisa kept making him stay. And I'm with Zach. Like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this shit. Like, what's this supposed to do? And even at the beginning of the episode, there started to be a bickering back and forth. Like, you know, Miss Lisa, like, why are you checking your phone? Is your girlfriend coming? Oh, no, I was just wondering how long this is going to take. And then, you know, Karen tried to get a bit snippy with him. And then Aaron's like, look, chill. Like, and Zach, like, look, man, dude, ain't nobody talking to you. And then Miss Lisa had the nerve to say, look, I don't want any of this toxic masculinity. And I'm thinking, your daughter has been more toxic than several waste dumps combined for the past 2 seasons. What the hell? So, yeah. So she essentially tells Aaron that my heart's been broken. It's been jacked up by Zach. I can't love you. And this man, Aaron, is no longer... He's a cardboard cutout. He's like Woody from Toy Story. You know when you got the pull string on the back of a toy and you pull it and it says different phrases? That's all Aaron is at this point. He's like just a complete simp. This woman who has said, I don't want this baby to be yours because I don't know you well enough. I'm still in love with my ex. Multiple times when you two have been getting intimate, she has called out Zach's name. I can go on and on. Why in the hell are you still trying to quote unquote fix her heart, make her love again? This is Tyler Perry's reasoning for Aaron to still be in the show. This is just as bad as the whole Q crap from last season. I mean, for us to try to believe there's a reason for Calvin to still be on the show, for example. In what world would a man still pursue a woman who's done and said all this? What does Karen have to do for Aaron? You know what? I can't even be mad because I've been saying for weeks, Karen is trying to get Aaron to understand that I don't love you. That's exactly what Zach has been trying to convince her ass for the past 2 seasons. And yet she's still chasing him. These two belong together, believe it or not, Aaron and Karen. And it goes back to season 2 when these two were seemingly a good couple. Karen was doing better. She was nicer. She was gentle. I don't know what else to say. So then we move on, like Zach said, she needed to take a break. And then we cut to her and Miss Lisa. Karen's just crying up a storm. And like, what the hell are you crying for? What the hell are you crying for right now? So that's what made the episode feel like it dragged, because I was shocked when she read Aaron's letter so early in the episode. Seriously, I was like, damn, are we going to get Zach's letter? No, that's next week. And trust and believe, I got a lot of shit to say about that. But that's pretty much it. So before she even gets to Zach's letter, just so you know, this isn't a personal attack on you. And then there's a knock on the door. Who could that be? Who could that be? Aaron's like, I'll get it. And some people are like, Aaron, he's doing too much. No, it's consistent. I sound like Karen. It's consistent. He offered to get the door when it was somebody knocking last week, and it was Zach. So I'm not mad at him for doing it, because, But then again, it's like, yo, this ain't your house, so you ain't got to answer the door. So he was just being polite. I have no problem with that. Well, yeah, so Fatima comes over, and that's it. That's the episode. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe I should wait until next week when she reads her letter to Zach. That way I can talk about both letters. But I just have to say that I have nothing to say about the letters themselves other than her just not taking any responsibility for her own heartache. If you don't want to blame Karen for anything else, can we at least agree that it's her own fault for constantly taking Zach back? STDs, cheating, all this other stuff Zach did. Okay. But nobody forced Karen to invest in him. She chose to do that. That's her fault. I don't know. Alright, so I'm sorry that this review probably wasn't what a lot of you were expecting, but I honestly don't even know what you expect me to say. This episode was weird. Better than the Oval, though, I will say that. The crossover elements were great, but in hindsight, it was just a ploy to get ratings up. I think Tyler's probably going to stretch it out. Maybe the episode where Madam meets Zach is probably going to correspond with the Christmas Fumble, the own Christmas movie Eva and DeVal are supposed to star in together. So I'm pretty sure they're going to line those two up. But how do you feel about the episode? Maybe you all have better insight than I do. I just felt some kind of way about it because you all know me. Because I even put out a tweet last night like, hey, usually this is the time of the Wednesday where I go things that I'm not looking forward to seeing in tonight's episode of Sistas. And I was like, I'm not even going to do that because the promo pics that released plus the promo, I'm hyped. But the episode didn't deliver. So I don't know. Maybe an 8 out of 10 was too high, but I don't feel like changing the score now. What do you score the episode? What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel? I just feel like the letters things was false promises. That's all I really feel about it. So let's talk about it more in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.